Milo from Monte Grotto Terme,
and
Italy.
The Colli Eugenei Hills, which there's lots of lovely wine up there, and there are lovely waters which come from underground from the hills into this thermal spa behind me.
And it's very therapeutic and nice to be here at least for a week.
Which we are every year.
Every year.
It's a regular thing.
In
We come
spring,
to be with
spring,
family,
yes.
and here we are. It was a bit rainy today, but
So
never mind.
why not
A clip.
a clip?
Time for a clip.
Time for a clip. And so we are talking about a topic which is very important, and it's the nervous system. Nervous system, yeah? And
Yeah.
the clip might be called the water nerve.
Okay. So yeah, my nervous system, which has been absent for 3.5 years, I've had to live without. So Ronald and Roland and Ronald is basically without a nervous system, or it has been for 3.5 years, and recently, either 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago, but very recently, things have started to change in a big way.
So your nervous system has just been bursting out
Yes.
in comparison with before.
I have felt an absolute breakthrough in that sense,
Yay!
and I can't give you a precise time when that happened, but all I can say is that this year when I jumped in that pool, not literally jumped, but as soon as I got in the water, I was able to displace it and to feel the mass of the water, the weight of the water, to feel myself pushing it against my arm, and to feel the viscosity. That means how much it's flowing, and to interact with it. And it was a blissful feeling. Same with my leg. It was actually heavy to push that water around.
Must be an amazing feeling, like after such a long time.
Yes, when you've not had it for 3.5 years, you think,
100
this is
times over, you said.
absolutely. And these are things we take for granted,
Yeah.
because we can do them all the time, unless something goes horribly wrong, like a stroke, and then oh wow, what is missing? And what has been missing for 3.5 years is frightening.
Yes, and there is something that we've been taking for a couple of months, MSM, and we think it could be not a chance that your nervous system has been developing so
Not
fast.
by chance, exactly right. I think it's too much of a coincidence that 2 months ago we embarked on daily MSM, which is a form of sulfur just as a supplement every day, and I think within 2 or 3 weeks I started noticing big changes. And firstly with the soft tissue, because sulfur is found everywhere in our fascia. Our collagen cannot be made without sulfur. Our cartilage, all the soft tissue, our gut, our skin, our hair is reinforced with the sulfur. So it's a game changer, and I think it's a catalyst that really has made a difference.
Nice. And what happens to the fascia in this process of rebuilding your nervous system?
Right, well the fascia, and I'm a fan of fascia, as you might know, the fascia is a place where most of our sensory organs lie in the fascia. So some people say that it's our sixth sense, our fascia. Our fascia is this rubbery, slippery, slimy layer that surrounds our whole body, just underneath our skin, and it's so important. It just envelops us.
There are lots of receptors.
Yes, it's absolutely full of the receptors that allow us to feel our environment. It's through our fascia.
So, and what's the the inner world and outer world like
That's
connection.
right.
Is
Our
that,
inner world is interfaces, connects to the outer world through how we feel through our fascia, how we feel our environment, and touch is so important. And there are 20 odd different types of receptors that respond to different pressure through our fascia. But if you're missing a nervous system, none of this happens, and you're unable to tell what has touched you, or if you've bumped into anything. I usually couldn't tell.
And what do you mean when you say that interoception leads to proprioception?
So proprioception is an external awareness of where things are in space. Where is my hand? Where is that table? Mapping it out in my head. So proprio means self, and ception is when you perceive. So perception of oneself, proprioception, how I perceive myself. And I know my arm is up here, that's because I can see it. But if I couldn't see it, I'm pretty sure I would know it's up there, because I arrive at proprioception through interoception, the inner awareness of myself, and I can feel a bit of a stretch here. Therefore, I understand that my arm I must be holding it up.
Okay.
So the inner awareness, interoception, leads to an outer awareness, and hence we connect our inner body to the outer world, to our environment, basically.
I see. And you said that you felt like the water, the mass of the water, but you had other feelings as well, like feelings of different textures, like nylon, like blades of grass, edges.
That's right, different textures.
Yeah.
So, my foot, my hand over something rough. It very much depends what texture, because some textures are very smooth, they don't register, or they exist in my imagination more like. But some things like this nylon stitching on my bag, on my sling bag at the airport, I noticed it every time I ran my finger across it. It really stimulated the finger, and it really responded. I could feel that. I mean, it was a sharp feeling, and it was rough, and it was not pleasant and refined like Roland, but Ronald was feeling something, real, something definitely.
Yeah. So Ronald being your affected side, and Roland being your good side.
Roland knows everything. He's calibrated. He's experienced. Ronald has had a stroke.
He's a baby.
He's a bit of a baby and needs to learn a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to stimulate the nerves so that they become calibrated and not oversensitive to the environment.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. When the nerves start coming back, they can easily become too sensitive, and therefore they sort of run away, and you become overly sensitive, and things so sensitive that even drops of rain can bother you. The most delicate signals can be over processed by your brain. And so what I have to do is keep testing, keep educating my hand and touch, and keep it in check, and keep saying, whoa, this is only a piece of nylon, dude.
Warning.
Yeah, this is only a feather, dude. It's not going to help that much. It's not going to hurt that much.
Yeah.
So it is a tricky moment.
Yes, and then we were talking about the Phoenix incident, I guess. So, because before you started developing, sensations, you could move but not feel. And Phoenix was your physiotherapist, very good physiotherapist, and she couldn't believe that you could move but not feel.
Yes. So whereas everybody else that she had met as a stroke physiotherapist could feel but not move, or had problems moving, but feeling maybe it would come back in a month or two.
Right.
Now, I was the very opposite. I was very good with movement, but I could not feel anything on my effect. Ronald couldn't feel things. So one day she said to me, "Look, can you move calcaneus? That's the heel bone of my foot. Can you move it this way?" But without looking at it, because normally I have to look at everything to know if I've moved it. And I said, "I'll have a go," and I promptly moved it.
Wow.
And she was a bit surprised and said, "Try that again." Yes, no problem. So she couldn't believe that I could do that because she'd never seen it before. So usually anyone who can't feel something like calcaneus cannot move it.
Right.
You can't feel it, therefore you can't move it. Whereas I developed a system whereby I would visualize, I would imagine things, and they would move. So it's very complicated, but I could actually move, but I could not feel.
So what do you mean when you say that thicker nerves connect to the somatosensory cortex?
So the somatosensory cortex is a part of the brain that obviously got destroyed in my case, and has to completely rebuild. Now that's feeling, the feeling of touch. And the nerve fibers, the ones that are working well, because my muscles are innervated to the extent that I can move them okay. So they're working well, the thin fibers, but the thicker fibers are not working well because they conduct sensation.
Ah, I see.
So they were totally offline. Offline being, I mean up here, not actually on location offline, but the net result was that I had no nervous system. I wasn't able to feel half my body, which reminds me of that BBC film, The Man Who Lost His Body.
Yes, yes. And that is, like in your case, the man who lost half his body.
Only lost half my body, and that is now beginning to change. I don't know what percentage, I haven't given it a percentage, but I know it's coming back.
So that
rapidly.
documentary was about this man who couldn't feel at all, right?
That's right, and I identified with him a lot. He did learn how to move, but he would crush an egg, for example, because he couldn't feel how much strength he was putting into that.
Yeah,
so
and sometimes when you hold my hand,
yeah,
I get a bit crunched as well.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know it happens. And you see, I'm trying to stimulate and I have to use a certain amount of force, but I don't realize how much is being used.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm just
no,
kidding.
but that documentary was very helpful for me, actually.
So without a complete nervous system in place, what happens to the local injuries? They become like they go to the brain. What's happening there?
They become centralized. Yeah,
yes.
All that means is the brain, they get passed on to the brain. So let's say my foot hurts, but I don't have a local nervous system able to assess the pain, the damage or something, and it just passes it up to the brain, to the centralized nervous system, and says, "Hey, here's something we don't understand, you deal with it, because I can't, my nerves are not communicating." And that has led to horrendous problems.
Yes.
Because repeating patterns and pain that's then recreated in my brain, and my foot will start hurting every 3 days when there's nothing wrong with it, but it actually stings, and I think, wow, what's gone on with it? And actually the pain should have finished 2 years ago or something.
So
or like today I have DOMS, my glute.
Yes.
That was 2 years ago it started, and it hasn't stopped because it hasn't, because of my nervous system.
your brain is so powerful,
Yeah.
right? So that and is trying to figure out.
It's trying to figure out
what's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so,
now
yeah.
that my nervous system is starting to take hold and interact more with the world, I hope it will calm down and become stronger and stronger, so that I'm able to perceive the world in a more balanced and more capable, more able fashion to realize what my environment is, what's touching what, and what hurt me a little bit, and careful here, careful there.
Yeah, so your nervous system is totally confused at the moment, and it needs re-educating and babysitting.
Yeah, but
Right,
it is
so,
making a comeback, and I am noticing things that I can feel. Basically, I can feel things.
Yeah.
They're the strangest things you would never realize, but some things register. And so I feel like a little baby who wants to touch things, to feel them in a playful way, so that I start to, with curiosity, to notice my environment. What does this feel like? What does an egg feel like? Etc.
Etc. Yeah, but we were also yesterday in the pool, in the sunshine. We were playing this echo-location game. So I have left my goggles home, but I'm unable to go underwater without my eyes open. So I was keeping my eyes closed, and invariably, I was going off course instead of going straight. I had, without visual, I couldn't go straight.
No, you were 90 degrees off course.
Yes, I know. So when you said, this is what I lived for 3.5 years this way, because you always have to look, not to fall down or where you're going, because you can feel.
Yeah. As soon as the lights go off, I fall over.
Basically. So it was an incredible eye opener for me. To see. Oh my goodness! This is so difficult. Imagining.
So I came up with this game.
Oh yes.
Called echolocation, because the dolphins locate little fish by sonar, sound. It bounces off them. So I said, look, I'll get you to swim in a straight line with your eyes closed. We'll use sounds.
Yes.
So you closed your eyes, and I kept on calling your name and saying, home in on my voice, home in on my voice, and you became sharper and more accurate with your ears as you practiced this method.
Yes, and I got to you.
Yeah, you did. It worked straight away, basically.
Yeah, that's very, very
and that was
cool,
inspired.
very cool game.
Yeah, so that's inspired by people who are forced to use one sense more than another. So somebody's blind, they have to perceive, there's a train to my 6 o'clock, there's a bird to my 8 o'clock, and perceive their environment through a different sense. Now consider that I didn't have the sense of touch through my fascia, so if I couldn't see things, it usually meant I didn't know where my hand was. Was it in front?
Right.
Or,
Yeah. So then, what does the future hold for you? What is the future like?
The future's brighter, I hope.
Yeah, the sunshine is coming out a bit, this evening.
The future is brighter because finally, to my great relief, I am interfacing with the world, and I think the average person who's had a stroke may lose the sense of touch for a month or two, unlikely for 3.5 years. But if you have had your nervous system offline for 3.5 years, I think I might have shared some good tips here if you haven't learnt these tips already. And what I think the future holds is a re-education of my fascia, nervous system, how I feel things, trying to explain to Ronald what Roland is feeling. For example, if Ronald touches something and says, wow, I don't know what that is, because maybe I close my eyes, and Ronald doesn't know, what is that? That is so strange, and it feels sharp and rough and unrefined. Then I can feel it with my left and say, oh, that's just a feather I'm stroking, you know.
Yeah, there's nothing dangerous. Yeah?
Nothing dangerous,
Yeah.
but so this is the answer. So question this hand, play a few games, a playful interaction, and then find out what
Yes.
it is. So I've known about this trick for a long time, but I've never been able to use that trick because I've never been able to feel
Yes.
anything apart from a feather or a comb
Yes.
on this hand. And imagine my joy when I jumped in that pool, pushed water aside one way then the other, and felt that weight of the water, and that which is a wonderful medium through which we can move. And it really helps me to interact
Yeah.
with my environment and to interface with my environment.
And the other very big thing is, of course, is reversing centralized patterns and integrating in 3D space.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. And just becoming normal again, because last year when we were here, I could feel the little eddies in the water. The
Yes.
same in Kos 7 months ago. I could feel just the angle change, and I knew it was through water, but I couldn't feel this weight of the water pushing about this way and that way, going past my skin, rushing past my skin. And that's just absolute joy to feel
Nice.
that.
And what about the jacuzzi?
Oh yeah, the jet. That jet of water, we call it a washing machine. We get in them and I can feel my skin being pushed about. Now I can't quite feel the jet of water because it's very comfortable and warm. But you know, if you add little bits of information together, and I know there's a jet of water coming out there, so that's why I feel a little bit of pain on my calf muscle, but what's doing that? Feel it with the other hand. It's the jet of water that's pushing my skin away. So most of the time I've just got to calm down and say, what is that? And it usually is nothing dangerous.
And it's a big puzzle that you're going to complete.
Yeah,
It's
a bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle. Yeah, well, you like jigsaw puzzles.
I love
don't you?
jigsaw puzzles.
Yeah, so that's my future. Learning like a baby does the environment again, and having a mentor aboard, Roland, to teach Ronald, and how do they shake hands, you know?
Yes.
Some collaboration going on there.
Yes, so that's a very interesting subject, and so I'm looking forward to the next phase of your life.
You know what I'm looking forward to is listening to this in a year's time.
Oh yes.
So I've often said that I do these clips for myself.
Yes, you do.
Because when I look at them a year later, let's say, because I've been doing this for a year now, it's so interesting for me because I watch it and I instantly know what frame of mind I was in.
Yes.
And what phase I was going through, how much of my nerves had already come back. And it's never black and white. It's not like one day you don't and the next day you do feel something. It's more like a progression that is so gentle that it suddenly just hits you. Oh, now I can feel this.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to watching this in a year's time.
Yes, it's a powerful reminder of stages in your
That's
in
it.
your
Very
practice.
important stages, because you see, last year I was at 10% of feeling for the water. This year, it feels like I was so excited. I felt it was 70, maybe let's just call it 65%. Next year, who knows?
Who knows?
Could it be
Yes.
80, 90? But it's going to be better, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And I'd like to look back on this clip and say, wow, I'd come further than I realised, or etc. You know, just to see what
Yes.
things are like.
Fantastic.
Anyway, that's nerves. And as my
Yes.
grandmother said, you've got a nerve.
Oh yes, she quite couldn't. She took me for somebody else, and so I took the blame, and she said, "You got a nerve," and I was really in shock. Oh no, no.
My grandmother had 3 strokes and also had high blood pressure, and she lived to the age of 93,
Yes.
which is not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
They didn't have blood pressure medication in those days. And you met her, and yeah, that was a funny episode
Yeah,
when she suddenly said, "You've got a nerve."
I think that she had a touch of dementia, possibly. She couldn't quite recognize me.
Exactly.
So,
Anyway, I dedicate this clip to her and
yes.
to myself in 1 year's time, looking back on
Yeah.
things.
Lovely lady.
And
Lovely lady,
as
your
are
grandmother.
you, as are you, always supporting me, helping me, prompting me, etc. So that's
Good. And
Good.
so goodbye from Italy.
yeah, and with a lovely sunset at the back.
Bye bye.
Cheerio.